What Marcus Rashford just did at Barcelona has left the football world in complete shock. The real reason behind his stunning transformation is a secret his former club doesn't want you to know. What happened behind the scenes will change how you see player transfers forever. You must watch until the end to discover the explosive truth about his incredible revival. Marcus Rashford rose into the air like a man who had been waiting his whole life for this exact second. St. James' Park fell silent for a heartbeat, then roared in disbelief, because the English forward had just detonated the game in front of their eyes. One moment Robert Lewandowski was dragging defenders into the wrong channel, and the very next Rashford exploded onto the cross, climbing higher than defenders thought possible, his header slamming into the net with certainty. For Newcastle fans, it felt like a twisting of their home fortress. But for Barcelona, it was the beginning of something greater, a moment of defiance that would echo long after the final whistle. Yet to truly understand how we reached that breathtaking point, we must rewind, because Rashford's brilliance was not an accident. It was the climax of a master plan that began long before the ball was ever kicked on the sacred grass of St. James' Park. The night had already carried an edge, the kind of atmosphere where even veterans feel their legs tremble. Newcastle Stadium is not just a ground, it's a cathedral of noise. The black and white faithful chant with the fury of an army, and Eddie Howe knew how to weaponize that intensity. He unleashed his team with raw aggression, pressing with wild energy, daring Barcelona to crumble in the first 20 minutes. Flick had warned his players, survive the storm or risk being relegated. And survive they did, but only barely. In those opening minutes, the pitch looked tilted toward Barcelona's goal. Anthony Gordon, playing as a false nine, stretched Ronald Araujo and Jules Kound in ways they did not expect, and Harvey Barnes buzzed along the flank like a hornet. Newcastle's long balls and set pieces threatened to rip the visitors apart, and one escape through the press nearly ended in disaster, only for Garcia to save with reflexes that drew a gasp from the stands. It was as if Barcelona were standing on the edge of a cliff, feeling the rocks shift beneath their boots. But then came the subtle twist. Flick had not set his men up to play recklessly high, as in seasons past. No, this was a mid-block, measured and balanced. For once, Barcelona were calculated hunters waiting for the right moment. Pedri and Frenkie de Jong, those magicians of control, began to lower the pulse of the game. With each pass, each little feint, they pulled Newcastle into a trap of fatigue. Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton, usually giants in midfield, were forced to chase shadows. By the 28th minute, Joelinton's frustration had spilled over into a yellow card, proof that Pedri's elegance was slowly dismantling the physical wall Newcastle tried to build. And still, St. James' Park vibrated with menace. The crowd sensed one chance could change everything. That's when Rashford first gave a warning of what was coming. Garcia rolled the ball out quickly, and suddenly Rashford was sprinting like a man possessed, his legs eating up the pitch, defenders panicking as he cut through them. Pedri's numbers told the story best. 91% pass accuracy under pressure for tackles, 9 duels, 6 recoveries. Yet no statistic could capture the way he made the ball breathe, slipping away from challenges. De Jong, meanwhile, was even quieter but skillful. 99% accuracy, 16 passes into the final third, an aura of inevitability. Together, they were not just midfielders. They were surgeons carving through muscle and bone, leaving Newcastle bewildered. Even Anthony Gordon admitted afterward that he had never faced pressing resistance like it. Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal. We play them all the time, he confessed. But Pedri and Frenkie, that was something else. Lewandowski deserves his chapter here, because while Rashford stole the headlines, the Polish forward orchestrated in silence. Time and again he absorbed pressure from Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, using his body like a shield, winning fouls, slowing the tempo, and releasing teammates into space. In the 18th minute, he nearly converted a Rafinha cross that would have ended the night early. Even when he did not score, his fingerprints were everywhere. And when Rashford finally delivered, Lewandowski's decoy movement had opened the gates. But the story of Barcelona's survival cannot be told without Garcia, the young goalkeeper whose gloves seemed to hum with destiny. In the 23rd minute, Newcastle broke the line with terrifying speed, Gordon bearing down, the crowd already rising in anticipation. Garcia's save froze time, his outstretched hand denying what looked certain. Already many whispered that he was the club's best signing of the season, and here he proved it again and again. By halftime, the storm had passed, and Barcelona began to dictate. Their wave after wave of possession pressed Newcastle back. Rafinha cut inside, firing just wide. Cound's anticipation stifled counterattacks before they bloomed. And then came the second half, where the script bent toward destiny. The 53rd minute. Rashford was smothered, the chance slipping away. But 8 minutes later, there was no mercy. A perfect cross flew into the box, and Rashford, wearing number 14 like a crown, rose with combustive material power. The header crashed home. 1-0. The silence of the Newcastle crowd was almost louder than their chants had been. Barcelona's bench erupted. Flick clenched his fists, and Rashford roared like a man reborn. Cliffhanger, because what followed next was pure cinema. Araujo battled like a gladiator, winning duel after duel, and in the 67th minute, Barcelona struck again. A rebound fell loose, and Rashford pounced. The strike that followed was not just a goal, it was an exorcism. The ball tore into the top corner, unstoppable, ferocious. A cannon goal that left Garcia himself frozen, in awe even though it was his teammate's goal. 2-0. Rashford had silenced his critics, silenced the doubters, and silenced St. James Park. Barcelona were soaring. But football never offers peace so easily. In the 79th minute, Newcastle clawed one back. A sweeping move, Gordon on the end of it, and suddenly the game was alive again. 2-1. The crowd reignited. The black and white flags waved furiously, and 7 minutes of added time felt like an eternity. Here lay the true test. Would Barcelona collapse as they had in past seasons, leaking goals in moments of chaos? Not this time. Flick's men unalive the clock, keeping the ball with an arrogance that drove Newcastle mad. Bruno Guimaraes admitted later, "They are an annoying team. You never touch the ball, you get tired, frustrated, and when you finally win it, you're too drained to do anything with it." That was the essence of Barcelona's rebirth. Control through suffering, dominance through patience, and finally, belief through unity. When the whistle blew, the scoreboard told only part of the truth. Barcelona had not just taken 3 points. They had sent a message to Europe. Rashford's goals were the headlines, but beneath them lay the fingerprints of Pedri, De Jong, Lewandowski, Garcia, and Flick himself. This was not a team of individuals anymore. It was a machine fueled by character, sharpened by tactical brilliance, and carried forward by the unshakable belief that they could return to the top of Europe. And so, the night ended with Barcelona celebrating under the hostile lights of St. James Park, a fortress cracked open by precision and courage. For Newcastle, it was heartbreak but also respect, because they felt firsthand what it means when Barcelona finally started to look like Barcelona again. And for the fans watching worldwide, it was more than just a win. It was the birth of the campaign, a whisper that said, "They are back," because this is only the beginning. The beginning of a Champions League journey where every pass, every save, every sprint will be weighed against the weight of history. And if nights like this are a taste of what's to come, then Europe had better be ready, because Barcelona's fire has been reignited, and Marcus Rashford has just announced it to the world. Was this victory about Rashford's rebirth, or about Barcelona rediscovering their soul? Do you think Newcastle were simply unlucky or exposed by Flick's master plan? Drop your opinion in the comments, and let's debate where this result truly leaves both clubs. And if you want more stories that cut through the noise of European nights, don't forget to subscribe.